Hello and welcome to Comedy in a Nutshell, a podcast about people who tried stand-up once and accidentally turned it into a personality. Each episode, comedians share what comedy means to them. We cover the highs, the lows, and the deeply confusing fact that one decent gig can erase 6 months of emotional damage. I'm the comedy nerd who's seen more than 2,000 different comedians perform live comedy, and you can find out more about my journey in comedy fandom on my website, thecomedynerd.com. Please also take a moment to like, subscribe, rate, review, and share the podcast. Thank you. My guest this episode is a rising voice on the UK comedy circuit, known for her sharp observational humour, warm delivery, and quietly subversive edge. A finalist in the Funny Women Stage Award, she's been building a strong reputation across London and festival lineups, with material that blends personal storytelling, identity, and everyday absurdities into something both relatable and unexpectedly biting. With a style that feels effortless but lands with precision, she's quickly becoming one to watch. It's comedian Lianna Holston. So why don't we start, as I always like to, at the very beginning, growing up in Colorado.
Thank you.
Was comedy a big influence on you back then?
I think it was. When I was in the third grade, which for the UK audience, I think I was 8. I would have been 8 years old. So whatever year that is, what is that for you? Year 4?
I have no idea.
There's no way to know. Did you go to school?
Yeah, but in the 70s.
Oh, of course. It was a different
We didn't
time.
count the years back then.
We didn't have years in the 70s. We just had the 70.
It was arranged by height.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. And I would have been, I was tall. But I am told, apparently my teacher, so I have an older brother, he's 3 years older. And we went to the same school because that made societal sense. And apparently my teacher said to my mom at, parent-teacher conferences, oh, yes, Liana's starting to develop that Holston sense of humor. So it was alleged, it was known. Mm-hmm. It was known amongst the community, our very tiny community. I honestly think I've been sort of indoctrinated into British specific humor and culture, kind of without knowing it. Like I loved Monty Python when I was a kid, specifically, and The Holy Grail. Yeah, that was a big one. And like I would always quote it with my brother. And then we saw the musical version of it, Spam-A-Lot. Mm-hmm. We saw it on Broadway. That was very exciting. And I also, my flatmate and I, oh boy, well, here we go. We're saying this now. Listen, we're both mentally ill. What else can you say? And every now and again, as a way to kind of calm down for the day and reset before bedtime, we will watch one episode of the Teletubbies. Because we grew up like as very young kids in the US, we had the Teletubbies. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know until we started rewatching them as an adult that those kids in that are British. That's a British show. The Teletubbies are British.
Yeah.
So
can't you tell from the accent?
Well, yeah, but I guess as kids we were just like, how whimsical. Everybody has a television on their tongue and sounds silly. I love that, And then I always did performance in school, and I started doing improv, because improv is huge in the US. And it kind of has been since Whose Line Is It Anyway? That very popular show. Mm-hmm. Which was short form improv, and then long form became more popular as UCB came to power. So I started doing improv at like summer camps when I was maybe 10, and then joined my high school's improv team and then my college improv team. So it's been among my schedule for pretty much ever.
The UCB, for those who don't know, is Upright Citizen Brigade, which is the improv troupe. That's LA based, isn't it?
Started in, I want to say it started in Chicago and then went to New York and then LA. And if anybody from UCB is listening to this and I got that wrong, sorry. Sorry, I forgot the mess hall opening monologue, okay? Del Close did something somewhere and was a misogynist the whole time. So honestly, who cares? But yeah.
So this improv and sketch background, why change? You moved to London only a few years ago and basically had to restart your comedy career over again, but in stand-up now.
Sure did. The comedy changed because the location was more important than whatever it was that I was doing within comedy. So I heard about, Well, okay, let me back up a little bit further, which is when I was at university, the summer after my first year of university, I interned at the Edinburgh Fringe for a musical improv group called Baby Wants Candy, who are LA, Chicago, New York. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, I know them.
Everybody knows about that. Yes. And I was one of the like young idiots that they get to just hand out flyers on the street and just do flyering for them. And that was my introduction to the UK comedy scene as it, currently is or was an undisclosed number of years ago. I'm determined to not reveal my age on a podcast. I won't do it. But that introed me to the UK comedy scene, and I really fell in love with it and always have really loved the idea of living in London just because it seems so cool and fun and chic, which it is all of those things. It's also a lot of other things as well. So then after the pandemic, I remember I was talking with a friend about how, I'm in LA right now. I'd been in LA for about 5 years after graduating university. But I'd really love to one day live in London. I just don't know how. And then he told me about this visa that I ended up applying for and getting. So I left LA. I didn't have deep roots there. I had many dear friends. I was an incredibly, popular and beloved woman, but my apartment rent was month to month. I was doing like part-time working, managing a fitness studio and part-time auditioning for TV commercials. And I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here anymore. This can't be right. This cannot be right. So I came to the UK, but yes, as you mentioned, I mean, the improv scene here is much smaller. It's kind of in its infancy in London in comparison to how it is in LA and New York in particular, where you really can funnel it into a working paid comedy career through those channels in the US. It's getting there. I mean, I think there's a lot of wonderful enthusiasm and a lot of talent in the improv scene in London, but it's still very new.
Yeah. Well, I always joke that I do enjoy improv. It's just that I like it when my improvised comedy is prepared and scripted in advance.
Yeah. I've just started dipping my toe into improv again in London with a couple of pals. And every now and again, the opportunity to do musical improv will come up. And I stay so far away because I worked for this musical improv group. They're famously extremely good at musical improv. I ended up reconnecting with them when I was in LA, worked with them for another year there. So I saw the show every week. So I saw the best possible musical improv you can see every week for a year. And now to see anything musical improv that is anywhere less good than that is like being physically tortured. Like it's hell. It's the eighth circle of hell is watching bad improv. I can't do it and I won't do it. I will leave. I will leave a show, and I have before, to like the detriment of interpersonal relationships. But I can't do it. I can't watch it. I can't do it. I won't do it. Anyway, all that being said, I switched over to stand-up when I moved here because I knew the stand-up scene was much larger in the UK than the improv scene. And the whole time I'd been living in LA, I always was saying to myself, oh, I really want to try stand-up. I want to do stand-up, and just never did. And finally moving to the UK, my first visa was 2 years long, and so I said, okay, I've got 2 years to try doing stand-up and do it as hard as I can and see what happens. So for me, it took like an international governmental time limit. I don't know if I would have done it otherwise.
Well, you took to it like a duck to water. I mean, how quick was that turnaround when you arrived in the UK and then found out how quickly British audiences would just take to you, particularly as an American, an immigrant of all people?
Yeah, and a woman.
So many reasons.
There's a lot working against it. I'm quite tall. It's very hard. Sometimes I'm too big on stage. People are upset. I got to the UK in April of 2023. I started doing stand-up in June of 2023. The first couple months were a lot of like screaming, just being scared and confused. And doing the housing search, which is very different. It works differently here than it does anywhere that I've lived in the US. So that was new. Everything was new. Like you forget when you're moving to a country where the language is the same, you forget that there will still be culture shock in a lot of different ways. Like I went to the grocery store and I was like, I don't know what yogurt to get. And now everything is taking so much longer because I don't know what yogurt to get. And now I have to decide on a yogurt based on nothing. I don't know anything about the yogurts here. I now know my brand is the Yo Valley and shouts out to them. I'm not sponsored. I did for a time. I was doing Yokins, that thing where you can scan that QR code on the Yo Valley yogurts and log like points.
That is very specific. I don't know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
And they were like, you can redeem it for like a bed in the countryside, but I never did.
Yeah.
And now they've expired. Anyway.
I have one question.
Yeah, please.
What's yogurt?
Oh, sorry.
I'm-
Sorry, yogurt. You won't like it in my accent. It doesn't sound right. My flatmate is American, and they say yogurt. And every time they do that, I go, "Excuse me, this is an American flat. What did you say?" And then in June of 2023, I somehow online, I must have been Googling like stand-up comedy courses and happened upon the Angel Comedy Intensive that Deck Monroe teaches.
Yeah.
And I signed up for that. And that was 1 week long, 10 to 4, Monday to Friday. And you leave it with a 5-minute set. And that was the thing that I never had before moving here that I always felt kind of was stopping me from starting stand-up was I was like, I don't know what I would talk about.
Right.
And so having that little 5-minute thing that I felt ready to take out as my little thing that I could go and present at gigs, I think made all the difference.
So how did you find then taking to stand up through this course when you have a background in like sketch and improv?
I think, well, my background is really just improv. I've never done sketch besides watching like I've watched a lot of sketch, like SNL, a bit of Fry and Laurie, the Pythons, just brave white boys doing brave comedy sketches. Oh, and I really did love a Black Lady sketch show, which was like very the opposite of that in many ways on HBO. So I think what I found was because I have a long performance background and because I, at the time, had been hosting a podcast for a few years, and because I, in the words of my therapist, seemed to experience a lot of emotions all at the same time, it was actually really nice to be able to get up and like talk. And it wasn't that nerve-wracking because I knew how to be comfortable in front of an audience so that they would feel comfortable watching me. Yeah. And none of us would be panicking that any of what was going on was going on. Yeah. I will say, sometimes they are not happy that I'm up there. I don't know what it is. I struggle a lot at comedy clubs specifically, which I think is because my delivery, like the rhythm in which I deliver punchlines, well, sometimes I just never do punchlines. Other times it doesn't follow that sort of expected rhythm of comedy of set up, punchline, set up, punchline, set up, punchline. So you could even be listening. It could be like gibberish and you would still know when you're supposed to laugh because you can hear it in the rhythm of the set. I'm not really doing that. So when I show up to a comedy club and I start talking about frogs and Pompeii, people go a little bit like, wait, what?
Oh, but you are very much a storyteller, and what I like about you is that it's not an energetic or emotional delivery per se. It is very meticulous and very measured and composed.
Thank you. One time,
I enjoy
my what do they call it? My star sign is I'm a Leo. And I don't know who, but somebody who doesn't know me very well once for my birthday gave me a refrigerator magnet that was a Leo and all of the like qualities of a Leo. And it was on my fridge in LA, and my podcast partner came up and started reading it. And one of the adjectives on there was energetic. And she went, "That's not you at all." I said, "Yeah, I don't know what my rising is, but I don't think it's the lion."
Well, did you know going on stage to do stand-up that was who you were going to be, that you were going to have that style of comedy, or was that just what came naturally to you? I'll just talk and tell my story and we'll see where it takes us.
I think it came naturally. I think I was also, well, I know I was because I lived it. I was unemployed for the first like 9 months of living in the UK, which was rough. And, but it meant that I had a lot of time to just go be having experiences and then go somewhere. I did, I think 150 gigs in my first year of doing stand-up, which was too many. Nobody needs to do that. If you're listening and you're thinking about doing stand-up, you don't have to do 150 gigs in a year. There's There's literally no need. There's no benefit except the cake that you buy yourself after gig 150 and decorate with a little 150. You don't get cash. There's no like other reward for it. Anyway, um, because I was like just kind of loose in the space and then going somewhere at night to a gig and not doing like a job from 9 to 5, I was having a lot of thoughts bouncing around my head. And I found it much more fun to talk about like whatever had happened in my day than working on a pre-written set. So I think just through that first year of doing too many gigs and not having any job, I think the persona sort of developed through all of that. I say persona, it's just me. That's what's going on in my brain. If there was a mic in front of my mouth or not, I'll be thinking about frogs regardless. But yeah, I think it's interesting. People ask sometimes, they're like, how did you figure out this like persona or this voice that you use on stage, or that like you could kind of go and not have a set really figured out and kind of like wing it a little bit on the night. And I was like, I wouldn't describe any of that as like figured out. I would say that more happened. That happened to me, or I did it to myself. I don't know, but I think it's like I get so bored of my own writing so fast, and I think a lot of people have this where you get really tired of your own material, and it starts to feel like a monologue that you're performing instead of a fun thought that I had a couple hours ago. And then it starts to feel like an acting challenge instead of doing stand up, which I think is very interesting. Because it's like, how do I sell this thing that I've said 150 times as if I'm saying it for the first time to y'all? I can't do it. I can't do it. You can see it in my eyes. It's like how horses can sense fear. The audience can sense like a boredom with your own stuff, which I think is why I just am like so hell bent on finding some way of keeping things a little fresh, a little interesting. It's made it unbelievably stressful when you go to a comedy club and they're like, do your best 5. And I'm like, what? My what? What is that? Do you know what that is? Have you seen that? Because I'd love to know. Is anybody aware? I remember I put on like Instagram close friends after a gig. I was like, does anybody know what my type 5 is? I don't know. Yeah.
So how big is improv then still as part of your show? You said about you'll go out and you'll talk about what's happened to you in your day rather than this extensive amount of writing. Is it predominantly improvised, or do you just feel like being able to improvise more is what keeps it entertaining for you, is what makes it still fun and not where you're tired of hearing you say the same thing over again?
I would say the latter. I would say, and as time has gone on, I like to imagine I'm hitting a sweet spot, which of course means it's such ups and downs in stand-up, like you'll kind of plateau and then grow a little bit. And I think I'm starting to grow a little bit, which I'd love to do because my God, this plateau has been long. Where I'm starting to realize like, oh, I actually can go in quite loose and maybe chat with some people in the audience, and then something will remind me of something that I actually do have a bit of material on. I mean, that's just emceeing. I think I just am emceeing instead of doing stand-up comedy, but that's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. There are some gigs, like obviously, competitions or anything like that, where it's a tight 5 and it's quite strict. You want to know that you're starting strong, the middle is strong, the end is strong, because it's only 5 minutes. That's no time at all. So for those, I do just kind of stick to the script, but try to stay present in the room. Like if somebody makes a silly sound or if something happens that there is to react to, I think it's really nice to be able to be there with everybody else because we're all seeing the same thing or hearing the same thing happen. And it's really nice to, I don't know, build that community and call that thing out in a fun and very brief way when it's 5 minutes.
Well, talking about competitions, I mean, the saying you started stand-up in 2023, and then in the following year, 2 years, you've been doing semi-finals, finals in competitions, well-established, well-known competitions. So You Think You're Funny, Leicester Square, New Comedian, Funny Women, and you're getting noticed in that sense. I mean, that feels very quick for someone who's just started stand-up like a year earlier than that. How do you feel about competitions, and how do you feel about being taken to part so quickly like that?
I feel people sometimes like newer comedians will ask, "Oh, should I do this competition?" And I find it really hard to say yes because my circumstance was so specific where I knew that I would be using my stand-up career as evidence for my next visa application.
Mm.
And so I knew that I had to just get as many quantitative things as possible
Yeah.
for my CV. So I applied for competitions that I don't know if I would have applied for them if I felt like I had all the time in the world to
Right.
get better. In a lot of ways, I'm actually incredibly grateful for that because you kind of just rip off the Band-Aid and you can't overthink it. You have to just go and do it and see how far you can get with it, and then great.
Yeah.
So I think like Leicester Square, that competition was 2024. So that was a year and a half or so into doing stand up.
Hmm.
But my visa application was due in 2025. So I needed creds of any possible kind. And it is so weird in the arts. And I think I have a friend who's applying for it's called the Global Talent Visa,
Mm.
which I'm sure you know all about. There's a ton of comedy people who are on it, which thank God
Yeah.
that it exists. But it's also a route that people who are not in the creative spaces can take.
Mm.
And I think everybody who goes through the application process has that weird experience of you have to like put your career on paper in the form of like 10 PDFs that you send to the Arts Council or whoever's going to review your application for endorsement.
Hmm.
And it is so wild to try and like prove yourself in an objective way in this unbelievably, flowy and unpredictable and hard to quantify industry. So that is a long answer as to why I did all those competitions so early on. And also I kept doing them after the visa because if I have to renew the visa, I have to submit further evidence that I've been doing comedy in the UK. I do think I would say because of my performance background, yes, I was new to stand up, but I wasn't new to being on stage, being in front of an audience. And I do think that is a separate skill that it takes time to develop. So I think there are people who can be really brilliant comedy writers, but need more time to figure out how to like present that to an audience
Mm.
on stage rather than in written form. And so I was lucky to have that skill and that muscle very, very developed and then be coming into the figuring out, what I was going to talk about
Mm.
on stage.
Yeah. So you went into the competitions for very different reasons, but do you have
Yeah.
a competitive streak, a competitive spirit in you?
Um, I do, but in a way where it's like I get very devastated if it doesn't work out. So I think I actually tend to shy away from anything competitive wherever possible. I grew up doing Irish dance, competitive Irish dance, which everything about me is very explainable. Nothing about me is a surprise. Anytime I like reveal a fact about myself, people are like, "Yeah, that makes sense." I believe that. My high school crush once, one of my many high school crushes once was like, "Did you ever knit?" And I was like, "Yes." He was like, "Yeah, you seem like you knit." I was like, "What the hell? We did not kiss." What was your question? I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Competitiveness.
Oh yeah, God. Okay. Yes. And the Irish dance thing I mentioned because Irish dance and stand up are both two things that are just like wild to try and judge.
Mm.
Like, what? Everybody's doing different sets, different steps with dance, different material with stand up, very different styles for both.
Hmm.
It was always so annoying because my brother grew up doing swimming, and that was always just like which guy got to the wall first. Whereas with Irish dance, it was like, well, that girl in the blonde wig did like sort of something a little bit different. It was just like impossible to compare to. It's like apples and oranges.
Mm.
It's like apples and like a hat. Like it's just two completely different things. So stand up feels very similar in that way. And there have been certain competitions I've done where you just can feel that the set is not hitting in the way that it has hit at other places. And you're like, you can kind of feel it slipping out of your grasp, and that is the worst feeling in the world. And it's also so annoying because it's like, but this other audience loved it. Like this went amazing at this other thing. Can I just use that? Like, can I use the amazing? Can I submit that as this finals set? And also sometimes it goes amazing and you don't get through and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
I think it's hard. I think it's an interesting one. I've never done stand up in the US, so I can't comment on how it's different. But my understanding is that competitions are not really a thing in the United States in the stand up scene there. And I do think it's kind of like insane. I think it's pretty wild because it's so subjective. And it's like just the three people who are judging that day. What you like in comedy is so different from what the person next to you might like and might be tickled by.
Yeah.
So I think it's very funny to try and pick like a winner out of 10 completely different sets, sometimes even like performance art styles. Now, that being said, it has served my comedy career great, and I'm incredibly grateful. And I respect deeply every competition I've ever been a part of course.
Well, there you are. At the very, very least, it's something to put on the poster.
Yeah, you really do need, I mean, yeah, for me, my proverbial poster initially was my visa application. And now, yeah, I have these things to actually serve selling shows, which is really nice.
Well, let's talk shows then. How has your festival experience been broadly since the first time you were there and in the last couple of years when you've been there as a stand-up?
Yes, I've been to Edinburgh. What year was last year? I've been to Edinburgh 4 times now. I'm incredibly lucky. I'm a very, very blessed person. I went while I was at university and I was there for the full month. And then in 2023, I went up for about 36 hours to do the So You Think You're Funny semifinal. I felt really great about my set. I did not get through. I cried the whole train ride home, which was overnight. And as it turns out, do you know the Caledonian Express? You know about this train?
Yeah, the sleeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I booked it because I was like, how whimsical, how fun. You'll be outside, you'll be seeing the stars and seeing Scotland at night.
No.
It's just dark.
Yeah.
It's dark. You can't see anything. You can't see anything. And also the seats are upright. They don't recline. I thought maybe it would be plane vibes where you can at least like tilt back a little bit. But no. I was just a wine-drunk woman crying upright on the Caledonian sleeper. So that was 2023. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was 2024. In 2023, I had just gone as a punter. 2024. And then in 2025, I went up again for the full month. So that was a certain number of years that cannot be known after I'd worked there during university.
From the candy years.
Yeah, from my very young years into my still extremely so young, wow, years. And what I was so grateful for last year, 2025, doing the full run, is that I had been there before for an entire month when I was younger and learned what not to do, basically, which was like, also I was like 19. It was my first time being able to drink legally in a country. Like I was having experiences, you know. So the second time around, I had like, I'm an adult. I've learned enough about myself to know like I got to go home in the middle of the day and take a nap if I'm going to go be very social in the evening. Because like I'm an introvert in the way that I recharge is by being alone, but I can still like have a lot of fun, get a lot of energy from being around people. Maybe that's an ambivert. No one cares. Anyway, last year I was napping and that was fantastic. That really helped. So I did the full run with my dear pal, Michael McFeet at Michael McComedy on Instagram, everybody. And we did a little split bill and it was so fun. It was so tiring. We learned so much, which is exactly what we wanted out of the experience. And it's so funny. It's like when you go up to Edinburgh and are there for the full month, by the end of it, your body is like, please go home, go get back into your routine, have your yogurt for breakfast, go to bed at a regular hour. But then within 2 days of getting back, you're like, oh, I miss it.
Yeah.
I want to go again.
Yeah. So you did your split bill with Michael last year. So having gone back to do Fringe and having then decided to do a month, was it more comfortable having someone there with you? Because this year you're doing the show on your own. So last year you had someone sort of there, a support structure, if you like, a shoulder to cry on.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And if I could cry, I would have. But my medication prevents it. I would say there were pros and cons to it. The only cons, I'll get to them in a second, but Michael, if you're listening to this, it's nothing about you, so you don't need to worry. I love you so much. The pros of working with somebody were the main thing about like a Fringe show is you spend much more of your time doing the admin for the show than you do the show itself, especially in the months leading up to the Fringe. So it's like filling out various paperwork and getting press releases in and the poster designed and ordering flyers and booking accommodations and all of that stuff. And doing that with somebody else was so helpful to have somebody else to be like, oh, hey, remember, this thing is due today. So between the two of you, stuff is less likely to fall through the cracks. And I am finding this year, I mean, I'm an incredibly organized person, again, to the point that I'm on anxiety medication. So I've been okay with it, but I'm feeling that absence of like, oh man, I'm the only one who's going to do this and it won't happen if I don't. Fuck. So that was very beneficial. And then just to have somebody with you every day, like you do sort of trauma bond over the shows where there's 3 people in the audience, or the flyering hours where you hand out just like not enough flyers, or like nobody that you flyer, you just can tell they're not going to come to your show. One time I was flyering and I went to hand him a flyer. He put a flyer in my hand. I was like, no. No, no, at all. That is not what? So having Michael was really beneficial because I would spin out quickly after the flyering. And we learned early on in the run that I needed an extra 10 minutes before we did our show to sit down and stare at a wall and not be spoken to or looked at in any way, because I really think flyering is the hardest part of the Fringe, like psychologically. I think you just face an hour of polite rejection and then are supposed to go on and do a show for all the people who decided to give it a try. Yeah. So it was so useful to have somebody for that. I must say, like, I co-hosted a podcast for 5 years, which also was a business. So I had learned through that how to communicate with a dear friend. My podcast partner is also one of my best friends from university, how to communicate with them about business related items in a way that is respectful and efficient and also doesn't beat around the bush. And so that was a really useful skill to have for doing a show with somebody else, because that could be hard to navigate when you're like, just, oh, I love this person so much. How fun would this be? It's like when you start living with a friend and then you're like, oh no, I have to have a conversation with them about something oh no. So that I was very grateful to have that kind of, to know how to navigate those conversations comfortably.
Yeah.
And with love and respect, and also actually achieving something from it. What I will say about the pro of doing the show solo is, and I think this just goes for like, living by yourself, doing anything by yourself, it's all on you, which is like a pro and a con. So it's all on you in a negative way where you have to remember to do all of it and nobody else is going to do it for you. But it's also all on you where you don't have to run anything by anybody else. So like I wrote the press release for the show in like 20 minutes and emailed it. And I was like, great, that's done. Nobody else needs to agree with that. And if they do, I'm a very collaborative person. It's on my CV. I'm endorsed on LinkedIn, not in that, but maybe in like Word. But it's just, it does save time not needing to like co-author things.
Yeah.
But I love you, Michael, so much.
Yes.
And I'll co-author anything with you anyway.
What about the show this year then? Tell me all about what you're taking up and what people coming to see it will be able to expect.
Yes. It's a wonderful question. I'm excited to learn. I'm excited to learn myself what this show is. Listen, hey, It's a work in progress, everybody. and it will be at the Fringe. I wrote the press release shortly after you and I had seen each other at the Museum of Comedy. And I put in the press release, I was like, this is in no way a debut. Please do not consider it for any form of an award unless you want to, but don't. So yes, it's a little work in progress show for the first 11 days of the Edinburgh Fringe 2026. The idea is that maybe I will debut, capital D, next year, 2027. I don't know yet necessarily if I will. Some things would have to change for that to be something that I want to do at that time. But theoretically, if I'm doing that, then this is the show that would become that debut show. Yeah. So starting to put the cogs in motion for that show. I won't reveal too much about it because it's actually incredibly personal. You can tell I'm really excited about it. But I think that's like basically the little pitch line is, if you come to the show, you will learn one big secret. And I'm doing like a little whip with Michael on the 11th of June in London. And I think that'll be the next / first time that I really start to see the shape the show is taking. Because I've tried it maybe 3 times, but the first time I did it, it was in November, and then I immediately fell ill for 2 weeks, which I kind of blame the show for. I don't know. There's something about her that's ominous. And then the second time was in December, and then the third time was like on 2 days' notice in January. So I think from June she'll start to have an actual shape. Yeah. But the point of doing a whip is that, you can change it every day, which is honestly what I'm excited for in August. Yeah. Is to just have every day to actually like really work on it. Yeah. And dedicate that time.
And the show's called Ha Ha Oh God 2.0.
A perfect title. Perfect title that I totally spent more time thinking about than the time it took me to type it on my phone and send it via an email. Yeah. It's called that. The lore of that is, for my visa application, I had to do a solo show, as you may recall. And that one was government mandated because I needed to submit reviews of my work, and I didn't have anything that was in detail enough. So I had to mount a show at 3 weeks' notice, and I called it Haha Oh God. So this Haha Oh God 2.0 is maintaining that same sort of harried energy from the first one, even though I've had months' notice. I've known about this for a long time. And I'm not at imminent risk of getting deported, to my knowledge, as far as I know.
Not for that reason.
Not for that reason. It's an homage to myself.
So, anxiety medication notwithstanding.
Sure.
With what you've said about the writing, about the improv, about the putting together the solo show, where are you at your most comfortable? What's part of the process do you enjoy the most? What makes you happy?
Oh, that is a really good... I'm not sure I've ever asked myself that question. I think what makes me the most happy is getting to giggle with other people. So it's when I am on stage and nobody else is. When I'm on stage and like when you kind of find something spontaneously that makes you laugh but also makes the audience laugh, that's when I have the most fun. Sometimes people are like, oh, I don't like it when comedians laugh at their own jokes. I'm like, why? Life is so hard already. Why can't we laugh at ourselves? I think that's where I have the most fun, which doesn't happen every gig. So it really stands out when it does. And it just feels, you feel like you're on top of the world, but with other people. Like you don't feel, I don't know. It feels whatever the opposite of loneliness is. Is there a word for that?
Friends?
Yeah, I guess it feels friends. It feels extremely friends.
Yeah.
When that happens. So that's what I love the most, I think.
I'm not familiar with either of those concepts.
Stop it. No. This is where, every now and again I'll say something like so positive, and then a British person will be like, what?
You're supposed to have left positivity behind when you moved
I know, but I've been trying to lean into like, I was saying this to somebody at a gig yesterday, which was you see people all the time at gigs and they're always like, "Oh, how are you? How are things?" And normally my response is like, "Oh, fine." But of late, I've actually been good. And now I've recently been saying like, "I'm good. Thank you. How are you?" And I'm sounding so American, which is so it's like there's no way for me to how do I explain to you that I didn't used to be this way? This isn't me being American. This is me trying to be like mentally well. Oh, I'm good and I'm sorry. Okay.
The problem is that in Britain, the phrase "How are you?" means hello.
I know. Oh my God. The first day I came downstairs at the my first year at the Fringe, during a mysterious year that nobody can pinpoint, I it was mostly maybe it was like half and half Americans and Brits
Mm.
who were doing the flyering. So I got downstairs to the kitchen. Also 16 of us in one flat. Awesome, great, really cool. For a person who later really figured out that she is an introvert. Came downstairs for breakfast, brekkie, the first morning, and a British person turned to me and was like, "Oh, hi, are you all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, why? Does something seem wrong?" Because I feel like that's such a classic American learning Britishisms.
Mm.
And always we think they're asking like, "Are you okay? Like, is something wrong?" And that was my first lesson in they were just saying, "Hey."
Well, talking about comedians laughing at their own jokes, do you laugh at other comedians' jokes still? Is it something you can do to sit down and
Mm.
be entertained by comedy?
Yes and no. Like sometimes I'll have friends who say, friends, civilians, non-comedians, who are saying, "Oh yeah, like I really want to go to a comedy club tonight," and I'll always go like, "Why?" The demographic at comedy clubs is quite specific, and the lineup is quite often like mostly men talking about how much they hate their wives or girlfriends, and that's just not for me. So that stuff I will not laugh at. If I can feel like I'm kind of taking a stand, I'll like loudly not laugh, which sounds like an oxymoron, but I'll just like, well, I'm very tall and I'm quite pale, so you can see me under almost any lighting and or lack thereof. So if I'm in the audience and I'm not laughing, you can sort of see it because of my ghostly pallor and long face. But at the same time, I just think like it's so easy to get so stressed out about stand up and like where's it all going? What's it all for? What's it all leading to? Which I don't know. I don't know. So I try as much as I can to just have fun at nights. And, if I'm staying to watch, I've been trying to do that a bit more as well because I think you learn so much from watching other people.
Mm.
I think it's really beneficial. People that you respect and look up to, not necessarily just anybody. Um, and I love laughing. I love to laugh. I love to be delighted and surprised. So sometimes I'll be doing kind of the supportive laughter because you want to be helping build ambiance. And
Mm.
because I'm an American, I laugh louder than a lot of other people. So if it's a quieter room, I'll try to like muscle a laugh out to get people at ease with making sounds. Um, but I would say yes, I definitely can. I have a capacity for delight, much more with stand up than with improv. Uh, I'm an asshole if I'm at an improv show. I am not a nice I shouldn't go. I should not be at them. Mm-mm.
When you said improvised musical, I mean, that just sounds like two
Mhm.
circles of hell colliding to me.
Oh my God, hell on earth. Hell on earth. When it's good, it's amazing, but it is so rarely good.
Yeah.
And we just must know that. We must know you can train for it in private on your own time, but don't do it in public until you've done it for like 10 years and you're the best at it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Speaking of improv, what do you think is the worst experience you've had through comedy and the best experience you've had so
Mm.
far?
I think one that I will never forget
Mm.
was, I think it was maybe my third ever gig in London, and I had my Type 5 that I had gotten from the Angel Comedy Intensive,
Hmm.
and I was going and I was performing my Type 5 at these various gigs. And I signed up for one in Shoreditch. I don't know if it's still going, called the American Style Open Mic
Oh, yeah.
I think it was at the Lighthouse. It's that one where you go and like It's not even a pub. I don't know what. It's like a warehouse space, but not near a dock. It's very cursed. And you go and they do it. It's American style. So you go, you write your name down, and 20 other people also do that. And they just go through the list in the order that people signed up. And I went and I did, and it was 20 men and 3 women on the lineup. And the audience was pretty much just the people who'd signed up. So it was a male-dominated audience, pretty much mostly heterosexual males in their 20s, and women, well, just the 3 of us. And my set at the time, I can't remember how it opened. I think I used to open by talking about how I looked. People would say my celebrity doppelganger was the Drowned Ophelia painting from the Tate Britain, which, like, fun, silly. What I learned very quickly is that if the audience is not on your side to begin with, because you're an American and a woman, they're going to hate you if they don't get that reference. And then you will perform to silence for 5 long minutes. So I remember being up there and making my first little quip about the Drowned Ophelia painting. Nothing. It gets nothing at all in the room. Also, it's still like the bright of day because it's summer in June and it's like 7 p.m. So you can just see everyone. It's on like the first floor of a building. There's windows. Oh my God. And I remember realizing in that moment, like, oh my God, I have to just keep going. I have to just we all have to just let this happen and get through this, and then it will be over. But unfortunately, for 4 more minutes, it has to continue happening. And so I performed my piece for a quiet room who did not care and did not wish me well. And then I think I maybe bowed at the end of it. Like it started to feel so much like a dramatic monologue. Like I was reciting a dramatic monologue for a panel of I don't know, like I was at the thespian conference in high school doing my dramatic monologue. So I did that, and I think I'll remember it until the day I die, because I remember there were 2 couches behind me for some reason. And I remember I met one guy at that gig who he also was like quite an up and coming comic. And unfortunately for him, I just will always associate him with that specific gig. And I have a negative time whenever I see him because it will remind me of that. So that was the worst one. I would say one of the best ones was during Edinburgh last summer. I got through to the live before I did the televised heat for the BBC New Comedy Awards.
Yes.
I got through to the live regional heats, however they are called. And mine was in Edinburgh at the Stand Comedy Club there, which was extremely cool. I'd never been before. I'd actually honestly never heard of it, but I have since learned that was extremely cool. What a great opportunity. I'm very, very grateful, very blessed. But what was so great about it was my family just happened to be in town on that day. So my parents and my brother came to the live heat, and it went the best of any of the BBC competition stuff. Like that one went way better than the taping one. I was like, God damn it. Can you not, baby? Did anybody have like a phone out at the Edinburgh where you could maybe just air that on the BBC if you wanted to? No? Okay. But it was so fun, and it was completely packed. Like they had to turn away my flatmate at the door who had just landed at the airport and with their dad and was coming to visit the Fringe, and did not get to see the set, but they've suffered so much. They've been to so many comedy shows. That's okay. Anytime they can get back not watching comedy, I am grateful for on their behalf. But just to be able to do that and feel really good about the set, and like, oh, I feel proud of how I represented myself, and like whatever happens from here, I feel like what I did out there and how it was received is an accurate representation of what I feel like is my potential to do on a stage. And it went great, and I was lucky to get through to the televised heats, which was so cool. But really, it was just so special to be able to share that with my parents and my brother, because obviously they all live in America. They visit. I see them more often than a lot of people are able to, and I'm very, very lucky for that. But it's not frequent that you get to like go and like slay in front of your family in a way that's like kind of demonstrating like, yeah, I can do this. So that was really special. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you've learned one single lesson so far that kind of informs what you do going forward? Do you have a philosophy at this point in your time?
Hmm. I remember at the end of the Angel Comedy Intensive, on the last day of it, we had to go one by one into the room and perform our fives
Mhm.
for Deck, the instructor.
Yeah.
And then he would like give us notes. And oh my God, that was a tough crowd because it's just him and he's writing notes down. So he'll laugh sometimes, but mainly he's just like thinking about the comedy structure.
Mhm.
But I remember afterward, he was like, do you prefer carrot or stick? Like, do you want positive, warm and fuzzy, or do you want kind of like hard hitting journalism as your feedback? And I opted for stick, which was wrong. As it turned out, wrong for mama. But he did say something that I think was really helpful in, I think it took me a second to actually really learn it and internalize it. And it's going to sound mean. He's not mean. He's a lovely, kind person. And this was helpful and needed to be said. But what he said to me was, you're not as clever as you think you are. And it felt like a slap in the face at the time. And I genuinely considered taking up cigarettes, something I've never smoked before. I went outside. I was like, oh my God, I need a cigarette. I understand why people smoke. I get it. I completely now understand. But that was so helpful in shaping the way that I like look at the audience and think about them, where it's like, hey, we're all in this together. Where it's like a team effort. Like you all want to have a nice time
Hmm.
on the night. And I think that helped me think about them as like my friends rather than my adversary that I need to prove myself to. And I think that was really beneficial and also has helped me just have fun
Hmm.
at gigs as well. Because it's like we're all here to kind of gab about something that's a little bit silly. And isn't that so nice that we get this hour or two, hopefully not three, of reprieve from like, if it's three, that's actually, let's just read Al Jazeera. Like I would rather be reading the news than be at the 3 hour. I don't know if that's true. I don't think that's true at all. I really don't know these days. Actually, I don't know what's worse, a 3 hour gig or reading the news. It's the news. I know that. But anyway, how lucky we are to like be in this space for this period of time where we can just like relax and giggle and not think about the real world for a little bit.
Hmm.
So I think weirdly, yeah, my mantra is in a loving way, you're not as clever as you think you are. Um, which ties in a lot. People often use the adjective stupid in a positive way. They mean it very positively about like, oh my God, that's so stupid. I love that. I think those two kind of go hand in hand for me.
Hmm.
Thank you, Deck. Love you. Thank you for my visa application letter.
So how can people find out all about you and where they can come and see you performing?
Instagram is the best way. I am at Lianna Holston, just first last name, LIANNAHOLSTON. Two names that are easy to misspell. Thanks, Mom and Dad. You should see my middle name. She's a nightmare. I'm kidding. I love her. She's my mom. Okay, anyway. I love my parents very much. I'm very grateful for everything. They probably will listen to this. I love you so much, Mom and Dad. If anybody wants to listen, Tossed Popcorn, you can find it wherever you find podcasts.
Yeah.
Don't listen too much because we're not an LLC anymore and we don't know how to file taxes if we actually started making money off of it. So stream responsibly. And then I have a website, which is also my full name, which I'm grateful to have and I love, which is liannaholston.com, which I am trying much harder to keep updated. So I post my gig calendar there, and Instagram is where you can hear about upcoming gigs.
Mhm.
If you're around in London on the 11th of June, if you're in Edinburgh, the 5th to the 16th of August, 2026 at 3:30 in the afternoon, haha, oh God, 2.0, the Squeakquel will be being performed at the Gilded Balloon Patter House, Snug, for 50 minutes, or whatever it's legally supposed to be, so that nobody considers it a debut show.
It is a work in progress.
Oh my God, it's a work in progress. Please, everybody
Oh
understand.
my God, it's a work in progress.
Oh my God.
Oh, the alternative title.
Oh my God. Oh my God, a whip. Yeah.
So it only remains for us to round up our hour with the title of the show, of course. How, Lianna, would you sum up comedy in a nutshell? That's an interesting sound you just made.
That's it. No, I would say that actually does apply to a lot of it. I think comedy in a nutshell. I'm gonna do like a word cloud. I'm gonna say community, giggles, hard.
We're still on comedy, right?
Uh-huh.
This is a broad cloud.
This is just my everyday.
Just thoughts. Just
Community,
thoughts.
giggles, challenging, a reprieve, and we're so lucky to have it. It's so necessary, you know.
Hmm.
We gotta laugh, otherwise, I'll be reading Al Jazeera. Oh, Lianna, stop mentioning Al Jazeera as a punchline. We have to laugh, otherwise we'll cry. That's it. That's what it is.
Simple as that.
Oh, God.
Lianna, thank you so much for being my guest. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a pleasure.